Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Chris Flaherty and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, and Jolie Atwood with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. How best to safely open schools was the subject of a long discussion during Tuesday night's school committee meeting, and while no firm decisions have been made, a lot of planning is underway. As reported by BNews, the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education said all school districts should come up with a plan due on Friday, July 31st. That includes alternatives based on the spread of the coronavirus when reopening is scheduled to begin. That plan must include different student learning models, in-person, hybrid, and remote learning to account for different scenarios surrounding the pandemic in the fall. On Tuesday, Superintendent Eric Conti said they have been hard at work on the plan and had some information to share about their current thinking. He said they have conducted a feasibility study of each of the schools and also conducted surveys with parents and guardians and faculty members. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from the feasibility study is that while full return, as defined by DESE, is possible in the elementary schools, it is not in pre-K and middle and high school levels due to lack of space. Even at the elementary levels, a full return cannot be done while maintaining 6 feet of space between student desks, but the schools can meet the minimum of 3 feet required by DESE. Here is Dr. Conti on the situation.
So the results of our space analysis is, again, we have enough physical space in our buildings to return some students to full in-person instruction, and we also could exceed the 3-foot minimum. But I just want to be clear, we do not have sufficient space to be able to return all students to school with 6 feet of physical spacing. So we can't meet 6 feet and bring all students back at every building without creating additional classroom spaces or learning spaces. So I think what we can safely say, and Bob, please confirm, I think we talked about we can probably get between 4 and 5 feet. We can exceed the 3-foot minimum, but we cannot get to 6 feet and have all students back.
What is being proposed is a mix of in-school and remote learning. At the elementary schools, the initial plan says all students will be in the school for a couple of mornings and at home in the afternoons, a couple of days a week. In the middle and high schools, the proposal is to have different groups of students be in the school on different days, with afternoons be remote after lunch. Dr. Conti said it is important that students have some in-person interaction with educators if it can be done safely. Here he is again.
Nothing can match the in-person experience, and I think that's one of our guiding principles, and I think that's clearly something that every parent who's spoken to me has commented on. Again, we have very talented teachers. We want our students in front of those teachers.
There are a lot of details, and we've tried to condense it all in an article that can be found on our website. We also hosted an info session with Dr. Conti and Assistant Superintendent Patrick Larkin. You can find both at bcattv.org. Sports season, assuming it is held at all with so much uncertainty this year, will be pushed back at least until September 14th. The MIAA Board of Directors unanimously voted on Tuesday to make the change at the recommendation of the organization's Sports Medicine Committee. However, the MIAA does not have the last word on how and when schools will open and how sports will resume. Those decisions will ultimately be made by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, and Governor Charlie Baker's office. DESE Commissioner Jeffrey Riley said if sports can be held, they will be done in a safe way that may mean that they have to modify how they are played. Earlier this month, the governor released guidance for a variety of summer and fall sports and listed them under a number of categories. These categories are low, moderate, and high risks, and the state is currently prohibiting high-risk sports to be played. Low risk includes things like gymnastics, tennis, and golf. Cross-country is listed as moderate. Sports such as football, soccer, and competitive cheering are high risk in Massachusetts and therefore could not be played under the current guidelines from the state. The MIAA also voted to reconvene after DESC and the other state entities put out their final recommendations for the 2021 school year. One new rule that was approved at the meeting was to suspend the handshake protocol at the end of games during this time. The next MIAA Board of Directors meeting will be held on September 29th. Burlington Public School leaders say they are condemning racist behavior among some students that recently came to their attention. Superintendent Conti said the department recently learned that some Burlington Public School students have engaged in racist behavior on their personal social media accounts over the past few weeks. These behaviors included using derogatory terms, being insensitive to gender differences, and mocking other cultures. The school department did not elaborate on what specifically was said or how it came to their attention, but made it clear that such behavior is not in keeping with the environment and culture that they are working to create in Burlington. We condemn racist, discriminatory, and harassing behaviors of all forms that impede our efforts to accomplish this goal, Dr. Conti said. These types of social media posts are upsetting and do not reflect the values and beliefs of our school community. This was also a topic at Tuesday night's school committee meeting where the committee voted to approve an anti-racism resolution. Here is Dr. Conti reading the final language of it.
Be it resolved that Burlington Public Schools and all the school districts in the Commonwealth must guarantee that racist practices are eradicated and diversity, equity, and inclusion is embedded and practiced for our students, families, faculty, and staff. We must ensure our own school culture and that of every district in the Commonwealth is anti-racist, that acknowledges that all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter, period.
There was also talk about a new position during the student representative portion of the meeting. Student Council and Equity Committee member Sarah Sheikh said that a draft of the action plan for the Equity Committee includes hiring more teachers of color, creating a safe environment for all students and faculty, training staff in equitable practices, and establishing a protocol for students addressing racist words and actions in person and online. Here she is with one of her proposals to accomplish these goals.
As you can see, all of these are many goals and actions that are needed to truly build equity in our schools, and it will be a lot of work. In fact, the Equity Committee spent the last week's meeting discussing the reality that if we want the work to be done, we need to prioritize hiring a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. This person would have a permanent district level position where it's their responsibility to lead Burlington into a journey where BIPOC students feel safe, represented, and respected in our schools. So I urge all of you to make this a priority for hiring in the 2020-2021 school year.
There were concerns raised by some committee members about adding a full-time staff member when town finances look to be hit hard by the effects of the coronavirus and the subsequent shutdown. For now, the idea has been tabled for later discussion. With all the advisories to get tested, many people are in search of places to do so safely and efficiently. In neighboring Bedford, the First Parish Church has teamed up with the Bedford Research Foundation to offer testing every Tuesday. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford went to check it out and get tested himself, and he files this report.
The spread of COVID-19 is a real threat, and with reports of people walking around with the virus but no symptoms, the only way to really know you aren't at risk of spreading it to family, loved ones, and the general public is to get tested. Fortunately, the First Parish in Bedford is offering an easy way to get tested every Tuesday.
We've been doing weekly testing since April 21st, testing Tuesdays. First Parish has collaborated with the Bedford Research Foundation, which obviously is headquartered here in Bedford, and they are a laboratory that does stem cell research ordinarily. And they were able to convert some of their equipment and get an FDA approval for COVID testing. So we started doing this work in the end of April, and we've been doing it every Tuesday.
You can sign up on the church's website at uubedford.org. You submit some basic information and receive an email with a number and a time slot for your test. There is a cost of $85, but if anyone cannot pay, there is an option to have your test subsidized.
We don't want cost to be an obstacle, so First Parish is subsidizing anybody who has any difficulty with payment, and people should not hesitate in getting subsidized.
Because of the system they have in place with everyone pre-registering, there isn't a lengthy wait once you arrive.
And as you can see, it's really pretty leisurely. People don't wait a long time. They write their number on a piece of paper and they put in the windshield of their car, and they can wait in their car until it's time to come in line. And then families can go inside and be tested together, and it all takes about 2 minutes.
Testing, along with the normal precautions of wearing a mask and social distancing, is one of the best ways to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
I think that the major concern for the laboratory right now, and certainly what our director's focus is making sure that we're able to address community spread in folks that are asymptomatic. So that's anybody who has no presentation of symptoms at all, but is still out and about in the community and may not be concerned that they have it, and may not be taking the necessary precautions because they believe that they're not spreading to anybody else. So it's really that population that we wanted to address by offering this community testing, just to be able to catch it early in the community and have it be available for people so they can at least self-quarantine and address it before they spread it to the community at large.
Once your number comes up, the test is quick.
The test takes less than a minute to administer after we confirm your information, and then you're out the door. I think having that available for folks has made all the difference as opposed to some of the other testing sites where there's quite a bit of a wait.
Finally, we asked people who took the test what it really feels like.
How does it feel? Well, there are a variety of ways to answer that. What I say is that it's kind of surprising. It's a nasal swab, and they do manage to go further up your nose than most people have ever had anything go up their nose. And it is not, one should not be intimidated. I know that I winced, but I winced more out of surprise than anything else.
It isn't that bad. It's not pleasant. It's not something you do for fun, but it doesn't hurt. It's just uncomfortable and weird for, what is it, like 2 seconds?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't want to get testing, but after traveling, I felt more comfortable doing the testing because we are traveling and again in the next couple of weeks to go camping locally. So I wanted to make sure I was safe and bringing kids with us and going up to do that. Because my kids are in another state completely, and I'll be with them later on in a couple of weeks, and I just want to make sure I'm not giving it to them when I do finally see them.
Testing is offered every Tuesday, but they will be taking a break on the first and last week of August. From the First Parish in the center of Bedford, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
The Burlington Police Department had 4 new members appointed during Monday night's Board of Selectmen meeting. At the recommendation of Chief Michael Kent and Deputy Chief Thomas Brown, Town Administrator Paul Sagarino appointed Melissa Cadet, Sean McGinn, Maurice Medico, and Stan Savage to the Burlington Police Department on Monday, July 20th. An in-person ceremony was not held due to social distancing efforts. The 4 will start the Lowell Police Academy on July 27th. Cadet of Malden has served as a 9/11 dispatcher for the town of Arlington since 2017 and has worked as a security guard at Securitas Security Services. She spent the summer of 2015 as a police trainee with Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department and as a certified EMT. She holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the University of Mass at Lowell. McGinn of Haverhill worked as a licensed social worker for the Department of Children and Families, where he helped stabilize and reunify families, as well as worked directly with the juvenile court to monitor the progress of adolescents. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Salem State University. Medico of North Reading worked part-time for the Old Orchard Police Department as a reserve police officer from 2018 to 2019. At Norwich University, she was a member of the National Criminal Justice Honor Society and the Corps of Cadets. Medico holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a concentration in criminology. Savage of Everett has worked as a court officer for the Chelsea District Court since 2019 and served as the supervisor of attendance for the City of Everett and Everett Public Schools for the past 5 years. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Salem State. The appointees will also partake in a 10-week field training program after completing the Lowell Police Academy. The Burlington Board of Selectmen voted unanimously on Monday night to approve a proclamation recognizing and honoring the 73rd anniversary of India's independence in a show of solidarity to many of our Indian American residents in Burlington. Members of the board said they were happy to have this chance to honor the Indian culture, a strong presence in Burlington, as can be seen by the very large annual Diwali celebrations that have been held on the town common in recent years. Here is Nick Priest reading a portion of the proclamation.
And whereas 73 years ago, on August 15, 1947, India gained her independence from 200 years of colonial rule with peaceful civil disobedience and nonviolence. That movement in turn became a new weapon to fight against inequality and injustice in the world. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Burlington, do hereby proclaim August 15, 2020 to be India Day and encourage all residents to join the Indian communities to celebrate the 73rd anniversary of India's independence.
You can read the full proclamation on our website at bcattv.org/bnews. After being shut down as a result of the pandemic, Arthur Murray Dance in Burlington held a parking lot dance party on Friday, July 10th to welcome members back to the studio. BNews entertainment reporter Chris Flaherty has this look.
Summer's here and the time is right for dancing in the street. On Friday, July 10th, Arthur Murray Dance in Burlington held a socially distant parking lot dance party to welcome members back to the studio after being shut down as a result of the pandemic.
You know, it's a very tight-knit group at Arthur Murray, and we really truly love our students. They make it worthwhile for us to do what we do, and without the students, you know, we wouldn't have a studio. So it's really awesome to be able to reconnect with everybody and see smiles, at least from the mask up, and be able to interact with everyone a little bit.
Arthur Murray is ready to cut a rug while adapting to proper social distancing guidelines.
We've been reopened for a very short period of time now. We're requiring everyone to wear masks and gloves, and people that aren't comfortable coming into the studio and taking lessons in person, we're offering virtual group classes, virtual practice parties, and virtual private lessons as well. Everyone is at a different place right now in our world, and it's important that everyone feels comfortable and safe. So I think that if people aren't comfortable coming back to the studio, then they shouldn't come back yet. Try a virtual lesson out. They are super productive. It's great to build confidence doing your footwork on your own, being able to feel confident without an instructor there with you. And if you're a couple, right now there's a really small amount of places you can actually go out for a date night. So it actually makes a really good date night if you're a couple. You can learn from the comfort of your own home if you're not comfortable coming to the studio yet.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty with your BNews Entertainment Buzz.
Although the pandemic has caused many events to be postponed or canceled, organizations and businesses across the region are finding ways to make it possible for people to engage. The Burlington Players are getting ready for the upcoming annual meeting they will be having in August. BNews reporter Robert Paris files this report.
The pandemic has canceled many events and activities throughout the year. However, people are finding new ways to present the events to the public. This week I spoke with the Burlington Players president, Robert Hallisey, about their upcoming annual meeting in August.
The annual meeting is a chance for us to get the general membership together, kind of give them an update on what we've done in the prior year in terms of the performances, in terms of organizational work that we've done, and then to take a look forward to the coming year and the types of things that we're looking to do in the coming year. It's also an opportunity for us to ask the general membership to vote on any changes that we might want to make to our bylaws for the organization. We also do the election of our officers to the board. We also have elections for the members of our nominating committee and our play reading committee, so that we have members joining those committees that are voted by the membership. So it's really important that people come and participate in in the annual meeting.
The Park Playhouse is very hidden from the other Burlington landmarks.
You know, the Playhouse is kind of tucked away up there on the hill at the end of Edgemere. A lot of people, you know, when they do find us, say, boy, I've lived here forever and I had no idea that you guys were there, that we had community theater in Burlington. So it's another way for us to get the word out, for them to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and the fact that it's, you know, it's more, we're more than just, you know, 4 adult productions per year. We also have the Children's Theater Workshop, and we have the Windmere Family Theater for the school-age children. So, you know, there's a lot going on at the Park Playhouse.
Burlington players are always looking for new members to join and perform with the group.
So we want to have the opportunity to tell people about some of the things we're planning to do within the theater. There will be improvements that they'll be able to see and feel when they come to the theater. And also to, you know, tell the audiences that we are specifically reaching out and looking for new members to join the theater when we get back to performing and working in the theater.
I'm Robert Parrish for BNEWS Weekly.
A Burlington woman has made a donation to the public library in honor of her late husband, who was a Burlington educator. The donation was made by retired library worker Barbara Del Duca and will be used to purchase new furniture for the library, as well as museum passes to local museums. Mrs. Del Duca, who worked at the Medford Public Library for 42 years, made the donation in honor of her late husband, Ben, who worked as a Latin, French, Italian, and Spanish teacher at Burlington High from 1963 until he retired in 1994, and her stepdaughter, Sarah, who passed away in 2011. Mrs. Del Duca said the donation was something that had been on her mind, and she figured this was the right time with everything that's been going on of late. Libraries do such important work. She was right. The timing was ideal for the library, as traditional fundraisers are nearly impossible amid the pandemic. Throughout the year, the Friends of the Library hold fundraisers, the 2 largest being their spring and fall book sales that aim to raise $3,000 each. Due to the pandemic, the group is unable to hold a spring book sale since the building remains closed to the public. The group was looking at other options to help make up for the loss of the fundraiser when Mrs. Del Duca called to make the donation. Library Director Michael Wicks said the donation means the Friends can keep the books to use for the next book sale, which is incredibly important since they cannot accept donations of used materials at this time. He added that Del Duca came in at just the right time and saved 2 book sales while helping the library continue to offer services people love. BNEWS History Uncovered is a collaboration between BNEWS and the Burlington Historical Society to highlight often overlooked pieces of history in town and to tell their stories. In this piece, we look at the mysterious gun found in the wall of the Francis Wyman House. Let's check it out.
Mysteries to history everywhere, and Burlington certainly has its share. This is a bicycle gun. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the primary mechanical mode of transportation was the bicycle. And people were concerned about robbers while they were riding their bikes, especially in rural areas. So they felt they needed a weapon, and they purchased this bicycle gun so that they can carry it in their vest pocket or blouse pocket, whatever. It was sold by a company in Worcester called Harrington and Richardson, and originally sold for $6.50. If you wanted a pearl handle, it cost you an extra $1.50, so $8 for a pearl handled bicycle gun. What's significant about this particular bicycle gun is where it was found. Back in the 1996, we had a fire at the Francis Wyman House. In the process of cleaning up the house, Historical Commission has found this gun in the wall, in this condition. So it can't be fired, it's broken. But the mystery is, who owned the house or lived in the house in the early 1900s And how did this gun end up in the wall? And was it related to any particular incident in town? A mystery.
BNEWS weatherman Peter Brown is back for now and has the latest forecast for the week ahead. We'll also check out the community calendar with Jolie Atwood to see what's happening in Burlington.
Hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with a look at the weather for the next 7 days. I know it's hard to believe. It's been since March since we've been able to be together to talk about the weather, and it's just going to be a pleasure getting to bring you the weather back again. Well, as you can see, our weather is quite different than it was back in March, the last time that we had a live forecast for you all. Of course, is probably a much welcome sight for all of you, including me around here. As we go in and we start out our period, here we are. I can't believe we're into the third week of July. Hard to believe it already that we're that far through the year. But we're going to be seeing temperatures about average or a little bit above average, something we've been seeing really since about the Memorial Day time frame. We're going to see temperatures in the mid-80s and lows at night down in the low to mid-60s. So again, about average for this time of the year. A little bit humid out there, so if you don't like the sticky weather, this really isn't going to be the greatest forecast for you, but definitely better than it was during the winter and certainly back in March. As we round out our period, getting into almost August, we're going to see our temperatures again about average, around in the mid-80s. So fairly pleasant out there. And of course, the days, unfortunately now, they are getting shorter, but still plenty of time to get out there and enjoy the weather. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is expecting for us in the next 7 to 10 days in terms of temps and precip. Now, looking at our temperature forecast map, it looks like they're predicting us to have a good chance of above average temperatures. And we're going to be seeing that maybe a little bit closer to average for this time of the year. So pretty much like we would expect for this time of the year in summer. As we go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be expecting in terms of precip, it looks like the Climate Prediction Center is expecting us to have a little bit above average precipitation. That's going to be pretty much documented well as we see the 7-day in a couple of moments, where we have a chance of showers and thunderstorms with the humidity each day. So let's go ahead and take a look at that 7-day forecast. And as you can see when we bring this up, it looks like we're going to have carbon copies almost every day. We have a chance of showers and thunderstorms right through the end of the period, right through till next Wednesday. Temperatures, again, really not varying much, pretty much from the highs of about 80 to about 87. So it's going to be warm, going to be sticky out there. Looks like, though, as we get towards the end of the period, we might have a couple of nights that are a little bit more comfortable temperatures, maybe down in the upper 50s to around 60. But all around, if you have the opportunity to get out anywhere right now and you have the opportunity to go to a beach anywhere or to a lake, it looks like we're going to have really nice summer weather. So everyone, again, great to be back with you all. Have a great week and enjoy the weather.
Hey everyone, I'm Jolie Atwood, and this is your community calendar. Come and meet some members of the New England Patriots. On Wednesday, July 29th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Athletic Boosters Club will be having a Zoom webinar with past Super Bowl members of the Patriots for a trivia and a Q&A. Everyone is welcome to join. For more info, visit BHS Athletic Boosters Club Facebook page. Grab your popcorn and blankets. Also on Wednesday, July 29th, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having their annual movie night on the town common. The movie they will be showing is Smallfoot. Pre-registration is required for the event. Go to burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695 to sign up. He is the boy who lived. On Friday, July 31st at 11 a.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a virtual Harry Potter birthday celebration magic show. Pre-registration is required. To sign up and register, go to burlington.org. I'm Jolie Atwood, and that was your community calendar.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo is right out of this world. It was sent in by Joe Brown of joebrownphotos.com and shows the C/2020 F3 Neowise comet in the night sky. Neowise is one of the brightest comets in the northern hemisphere since comet Hale-Bopp in 1997. Under dark skies, it can be clearly seen with the naked eye and might remain visible to the naked eye throughout most of July. Once it's gone, scientists say it won't be back in Earth's sky for another 6,800 years. Maybe you can catch it next time, but probably not. Thanks for the photo, Joe. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your stay-at-home activities, finally eating al fresco at your favorite restaurant, shots of your friends, pets, family, summer activities, or just weather seen from your own backyard. Whatever you think is interesting and would want to share with the community and with us. Please email your photos to BCAT at bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. That's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Rich Hosford, Chris Flaherty, and Robert Paris. Thank you for joining us, and Jolie Atwood.